a woman named Jane Doe.
Ah, Jane Doe.
Yeah, she's alleging that both Diddy and Jay-Z assaulted her.
And this was at an MTV VMAs after party, way back in 2000.
Wow, 2000.
Yeah, a while ago. And get this, the lawsuit was just amended.
Amended?
To explicitly name Jay-Z. Before, he was just referred to as Celebrity A.
Oh, wow, like a hidden character revealed.
Right. And now Jay-Z is vehemently denying everything.
He's demanding that Jane Doe reveal her identity.
But her lawyer is fighting back, saying she has a right to anonymity.
You know, for her own safety. They're even claiming Diddy has threatened other accusers.
And it's messy, right?
Really messy. It paints a pretty disturbing picture of Diddy's parties. Makes you wonder what was really going on there.
It's important to understand that context. Like, what was the environment surrounding these alleged incidents?
Makes sense.
And a former party planner for Diddy, she reveals some shocking details.
What kind of details?
Things like they allegedly had weight checks for women.
Seriously?
Yeah. And strict NDAs, non-disclosure agreements. Like, they were trying to keep everything under wraps. The whole thing points to a culture of exploitation, really unsettling power dynamics.
It's scary to think about.
And there's this guy, Tom Swoop, a music industry insider, right?
Yeah.
He describes Diddy's parties as having this tiered system.
A tiered system? Like what?
Like different levels of access. It all culminated in this exclusive inner circle where things supposedly got even darker.
Oh, man. This is getting intense.
Swoop even shared a story about this joke Diddy allegedly made to a young artist.
A joke?
Yeah, he offered her a record deal in exchange for a humiliating act.
That's just awful.
It is. Whether true or not, that anecdote shows you the potential for abuse in those power structures.
It's mind-blowing. And speaking of power, where does Beyonce fit into all this? She's been really quiet about these allegations against both Diddy and Jay-Z.
Yeah, her silence is noticeable, especially with all the public attention this case is getting.
And her actions seem kind of contradictory. On one hand, she was just with Jay-Z at the Mufasa premiere, and this was after he was added to the lawsuit. Some people are saying it's a sign of support or even like a PR stunt to show unity.
Could be, but then again, on that same YouTube video, they point out that Beyonce dropped Carter from her name on a recent Forbes list.
Oh, right, like fueling all those divorce rumors.
Exactly.
This whole thing's a puzzle.
It is.
And this YouTube source.
Yeah.
They even speculate that Beyonce could be the unnamed woman in Jane Doe's lawsuit.
Because she was a regular at Diddy's parties back then.
Right, but that's just speculation, right?
But we need to be clear about that. We don't have any solid evidence to back it up.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's just a theory. But all this talk about Jay-Z, it makes me think about the 2014 Met Gala incident.
Oh, yeah. With Solange.
Yeah, that whole elevator altercation. Well, we don't know exactly what happened.
A lot of people think it involved infidelity, maybe some family tensions.
Definitely added to the whole mystery of their relationship.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder if this current situation with Jay-Z, if it fits a pattern.
Makes you think about his past behavior, for sure.
You know, there were all those stories about him being really controlling towards Beyonce early in their relationship, like banning Sean Paul from performing with her.
Right.
And allegedly having men removed from the set of her music videos.
Even if those are just rumors,
yeah,
they raise questions about how he views women, you know, and their right to make your own choices.
Absolutely. And then there's his ex-girlfriend, Carmen Bryan.
Oh, yeah. What about her?
She wrote in her book about waking up to him kissing her without her consent.
Whoa.
It's a serious accusation. Makes you think about boundaries and respect.
It does. When you put all these incidents together, it paints a pretty complex picture of Jay-Z.
Yeah, it does. And we can't forget about 50 Cent's commentary on all this. He was one of the first to publicly express suspicion about Jay-Z's involvement.
Right.
And then he threw some shade at Jay-Z for attending the Mufasa premiere with all these allegations hanging over him.
50 Cent, you know, he might be sarcastic, but
yeah,
he's actually adding to the public's understanding of this case, keeping it in the spotlight.
For sure. And he's even involved in a Netflix documentary about the Diddy allegations.
Which means there's definitely more to this story than we know right now. This is just the tip of the iceberg.
So we've got this lawsuit, the stories about Diddy's parties, Beyonce's silence, Jay-Z's past behavior. It's a lot to unpack.
Definitely a lot to unpack. A messy, complicated situation.
Where do we even begin to make sense of it all?
Well, I think the key here is to focus on the bigger picture.
The bigger picture.
Yeah. This is about power, fame, and accountability. how these things intersect, especially in an industry like the music business.
Where wealth and influence can often shield people from consequences.
Exactly. That's something we need to keep in mind as we dive deeper into this.
It's definitely a lot to think about. For everyone listening, remember, the music industry might seem glamorous, but there are some dark sides we need to look at.
And as we go further down this rabbit hole, we're going to uncover even more unsettling details, exploring the larger societal impact of all of this.
So stay tuned for part 2 of this deep dive. We'll be back with even more to discuss.
Can't wait.
Back into this whole Jay-Z and Diddy situation.
Lots to unpack still.
And this YouTube video we're looking at. It gets kind of wild.
How so?
It starts connecting everything to these, I don't know, theories about Beyonce.
Theories about Beyonce, like what?
Okay, this is where it gets a little out there, but
I'm listening.
the source claims that Beyonce, maybe with Diddy's help, they orchestrated the deaths of other celebrities.
Whoa, hold on. That's a huge accusation.
I know, it sounds crazy, right?
We gotta be careful with this stuff. Speculation is one thing, but this is veering into conspiracy theory territory.
I hear you.
Yeah.
But the source claims that Beyonce eliminated rising stars to, get rid of competition. People like Aaliyah, Lisa Left Eye Lopes.
And their reasoning.
They point to the fact that all these supposed victims died on the 25th of the month.
Okay.
And Beyonce, Jay-Z, Diddy, they were all born on the 4th.
Numbers, though. Those can be twisted to fit any narrative.
Right, that's what I thought too. It's all pretty circumstantial. But they also bring up this J. Cole song.
J. Cole. Which song?
She Knows. Supposedly it hints at these deaths, and there are parts that sound like Beyonce's last name.
Song lyrics can be interpreted in so many ways, though.
Yeah, it's all pretty subjective.
We gotta stick to the facts here.
For sure. But this source, they go even further, suggesting that artists who win awards over Beyonce end up experiencing misfortunes. Like, it's all part of some grand scheme.
It's giving Illuminati vibes.
Totally. It gets a bit much.
We gotta be really critical with these kinds of claims. There's no real evidence to support this.
Yeah, you're right. It's a good reminder to take everything we see online, especially stuff like this, with a huge grain of salt.
Huge grain of salt. But it is interesting why people are so quick to believe these narratives about powerful figures.
Maybe because it's like a real-life thriller. It's entertaining.
It is entertaining, but we have to separate entertainment from facts.
Absolutely. So back to the facts. The source points out that Beyonce dropped Carter from her name.
Right, on the Forbes list. And this happened right in the middle of all this drama with Jay-Z and Diddy.
Exactly. The source is speculating that it's a sign of a divorce.
Could be. Maybe she's distancing herself from the negative publicity surrounding Jay-Z.
But it could also be a branding decision, right? Reclaiming her identity as Beyonce Knowles.
Or even a power move, showing her independence.
So many possibilities.
This whole situation, even without concrete evidence, it raises questions about what Beyonce knows.
Right. Like, can she really be totally unaware of all this? It's a huge story.
Makes you think about what she chooses to engage with, what she ignores, another layer of complexity to this whole thing.
Speaking of complexity,
Yeah.
let's talk about Jay-Z's past behavior. You know, those early stories about him being controlling towards Beyonce.
Yeah, those were pretty intense.
The source found a bunch of examples, like the alleged ban on Sean Paul collaborating with Beyonce.
Right.
And remember that story about Bun B?
Bun B.
He collaborated with Beyonce on Check on It. He talked about Jay-Z calling during the video shoot, demanding all the men leave the set.
Wow, if that's true. That really adds to this idea of controlling behavior. Like, he felt threatened by Beyonce working with other men.
It goes beyond just professional jealousy. It's about respect for women, their agency to make their own choices.
It's about challenging the societal norms that put men in control, especially in relationships.
Especially when you add in fame and wealth. It can create this sense of invincibility.
Like, the rules don't apply.
It's a dangerous cycle,
Yeah,
and it needs to change.
it does. But it's going to take a lot of work to dismantle those deeply held beliefs about masculinity and power.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. The lawsuit, stories about Diddy's parties, Beyonce's silence, Jay-Z's behavior. We even touched on those wild conspiracy theories.
It's been quite a journey.
And we're not done yet. There's still more to uncover. Stay tuned for part 3, where we'll continue to unravel this web of allegations and explore what it all means. Welcome back, everyone. We're wrapping up our deep dive into this whole Jay-Z and Diddy situation, and it's clear this goes way beyond just gossip, you know?
It really does. It brings up these big questions about consent, power dynamics, all that. You know, that story from Carmen Bryan's book about Jay-Z kissing her while she was asleep.
Yeah, that was really disturbing.
It makes you think about his respect for boundaries, a woman's right to say no.
Absolutely. And it's not just an isolated incident. It makes you wonder how these attitudes about consent play out in other situations, especially when there's a power imbalance.
Exactly. Like, remember those stories about Jay-Z being so controlling toward Beyonce early in their relationship?
The Sean Paul band, the Check On It video shoot.
Right, all those. If they're true, they really suggest a need to control her career, her interactions with other men.
It's a troubling pattern.
Yeah.
And it goes beyond just being jealous, you know?
Yeah.
It's about how he views women.
It is. Like, do they have the agency to make their own choices in their career, their personal life?
Exactly. And then you add in the fame, the wealth.
Yeah, it can warp your sense of reality.
Like you're above the rules.
Yeah.
Which brings us back to accountability. How do we hold these powerful figures responsible for their actions? Especially when so much happens behind closed doors.
It's a tough question, but I think it starts with creating a culture where victims feel safe coming forward, knowing they'll be believed, supported.
We need to dismantle those systems that protect abusers.
For sure.
You know, this whole deep dive has really made me question a lot of things. And it's not just Diddy and Jay-Z. This YouTube video also brings up some stuff about Beyonce.
Oh, like what?
The accusations of plagiarism, unauthorized sampling.
Ah, right. That's been a recurring theme throughout her career.
Like that whole milkshake sample controversy with Keyless.
Yeah.
And her performance at the Billboard Music Awards in 2011. It was incredibly similar to an Italian singer's performance the year before.
That raises questions about artistic integrity, where inspiration ends and copying begins.
It's a blurry line sometimes.
It is.
Remember that lawsuit by the filmmaker Matthew Folks? He claimed Beyonce stole ideas from a short film for Lemonade.
Oh, right, the visuals. That case really highlighted how complicated copyright law can be.
It's a good reminder that even the biggest stars have to follow the rules. When it comes to intellectual property, there are consequences.
Absolutely.
And speaking of consequences, I think we need to address the elephant in the room.
You mean the elevator?
Yeah, the 2014 Met Gala incident, Solange attacking Jay-Z, with Beyonce right there. We still don't know what caused it, but
That footage was shocking. A very public display of family drama.
it made everyone question what goes on behind closed doors. The rumors about infidelity, tension.
That incident, it really shattered their perfect image, showed the world they're human with real problems like everyone else.
So where does this leave us? We've gone deep into these allegations, questioned Beyonce's role, looked at their past behaviors.
It's been a wild ride. We may never have all the answers, but we've definitely exposed a lot. Power, secrecy, questionable actions.
It's made me rethink the whole music industry, the people we put on pedestals.
And remember, true accountability goes beyond whispers and speculation. It requires a system where victims are heard and those in power face consequences.
This deep dive has been eye-opening. I've questioned everything I thought I knew about these celebrities, the industry they're in.
Hopefully it's made you think critically too. Question the narratives we're fed. Use your voice for a more just world.
That's what it's all about. Keep asking questions, keep searching for the truth.